This tab here is the time series tab, and what this particular tab allows you to do is it allows you to see the rate of a particular metric that you've selected over time, and then split that time up into a before and after. And so here's where it kind of gets fun and allows you to develop some business insight from the data that we've collected for you over the years. And so I do want to walk through this pretty slowly just so everyone has a good idea of what exactly you're seeing. Again, it'll look a little bit different for me just because I'm using this demo data and it doesn't have a lot of data in it, but you should be able to see plenty of data across all the sites that you might have, or across or using the one site you have compared to the rest of the collaborative. So what do you see? Same thing at the top, different boxes to make some selections, some more information in the pop-up. But right now what I've selected is pulmonary embolism. My selected site is the Medic demo site. You may have more than one site here, and so you can select more than one and aggregate them together into the orange. The rest of the sites within Medic will be all aggregated into the blue. And so you could select one site at a time, or you could select your entire group or your entire health system at a time and look at that data that way. It sort of depends on what you're looking for. The first few boxes here are set the dates. You can pick a date of interest. So for example, if you did some sort of intervention like an EHR intervention or an educational intervention, you could pick the date of that intervention started, and then you can pick the first date to include and the last date to include. And what that will do is that'll create a before and after period. And so then on this middle panel, what you're going to see is a split line graph where the split is at the date of interest, and then there's a before and after period. You can set the before and after period to a different length of time, and so you can see based on the dates we selected up here, there's actually 610 days in the after period and 365 days in the before period. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to March 2023 just to make it even periods. You can note, and you'll notice that it doesn't. It actually didn't redraw it, and that's actually because the data, just looking at these dates now, the data in the demo data doesn't have data extending past a certain time frame in 2022, and so it won't look very different for me. But that's okay. When you do it on your own, it'll look very different as you change the dates up here. And so what you see in these plots is you're seeing a 60-day moving average for the selected metric. If I selected some other metric like chest pain, the numbers would look different. But let's just go back to PE since we're using that as our example today. And so on the y-axis, you're going to see the rate of diagnostic yield of or the rate of whatever metric you have selected. And in the orange, you see the selected sites. In the blue, you see the other sites all aggregated together. You'll see the split, and then you'll see sort of what the rate was in the after period. And you can see that there's a lot of variability. There's a lot of seasonality for a lot of these metrics. And so we've included in the dashed lines a linear trend line that sort of just gives you an idea of like what the trend was for the selected sites or for the other sites by before and after period. In the bottom panel here, you're going to see the case counts, the numerator cases, the denominator cases, the number of unique physicians making up the data, and then the sort of before and after diagnostic yield at the selected sites and the other sites. And then you don't see a ton here because you just see the demo site data. It's sort of like this artificially created data. But for you, you'll actually see all your selected sites broken out if you have multiple sites selected, and you'll be able to see sort of a before and after diagnostic yield. And again, if you hover over any of these elements, it'll sort of give you some information about the specific element. I would encourage you to play with this a lot because it will really give you some good information about how the rate of a particular intervention or a rate of a particular metric has changed over time. If you want to see it as one panel, you can actually play with the dates so that you can only see one panel. You can only see one period, and so if you wanted to see it that way, you could do that as well. And there's some information about that in the pop-up.